Gold didn't fail as money, we failed it as money. However, after discovering Bitcoin, after becoming a Bitcoiner and figuring out why Bitcoin is better than gold, um, I think it becomes more, you can become more objective about it. And you look at gold and you can say, well, you know, the fact that we failed in our ability to use gold, if you want to frame it that way, ultimately has to be a function of the failure of gold's property, of the inherent properties of gold that make it essentially unworkable as a form of money in the 20th century because it failed to resist government control and manipulation. And that's ultimately what it comes down to. So I like the fact that gold supply increases at a low rate. I think gold is better money than pretty much everything that has ever existed except for Bitcoin. However, it does have this fatal flaw, which is that it's very difficult and expensive to move it around in a modern digital economy, which means that you have to resort to centralized services for moving it around, which means it becomes relatively easy for governments to confiscate it and to neuter its monetary role, issuing paper and credit that is supposedly backed by the Bitcoin, but then ends up not being backed by the Bitcoin and then eventually becomes inflationary fiat money. So by turning into fiat money, effectively, we could say that gold failed. And I think you become a Bitcoiner when you realize it's a lot easier to just build something that actually works out of the box than to try and convince the entire planet that we need to have the political and economic institutions that are geared toward a form of money that is no longer functional. It's very difficult to explain that to people.